name is Anas Benjaloun, and I am on the Clark's team. We're here today to debate the relationship between media and learning, and whether media influences learning. Let me actually start with my first argument, which is the replaceability challenge. I'm going to start with a quote from Clark's article. We need to ask whether there are other media or another set of media attributes that would yield similar learning gains. Let this be my opening statement to all of you out there who are supporters of Cosma's theory that media influences learning in such a way that some attributes are irreplaceable. Before you move on, think twice. Why would you seek very expensive media if cheaper and less costly ones could serve the same purpose? Now, this is very crucial, quite alarming, if we are talking about learning programs, especially the CBI programs, which could cost millions of dollars, when in fact they could be replaced by cheaper media that could potentially have the same results. Just like Richard Clark said, it is the underlying instructions of the design that must be looked at and studied carefully, and not the surface features represented by the media. Just like Clark challenged his good friend Cosma, I challenge each and every one of you to find me a unique media that serves one unique purpose and yields to one unique learning goal. Now, therefore, can absolutely be irreplaceable. Let's be clear here for a second. Think of any learning goal that you're trying to attain. Let's say learn how to tango, solve a math problem, learn a different language. Let's be honest. Let's take learning a language, for instance, as the learning goal we're trying to attain. You could very well choose to take an online class, and I could choose one of those programs like Rosetta Stone, and we could both be speaking this new language after a few months. Now, which media proved to be most effective, or should we rephrase the question and maybe ask which media was less expensive, because eventually, with some motivation on both our parts, you and I could achieve the same learning goals. You have to agree with me, based on the example I just gave you, that either medium used to learn a new language has proved to be effective. My question to you then, why would anyone in their right state of mind choose the most expensive way to do it? Richard Clark is right when he says, quoting, "The designer can and must choose the less expensive and most cognitively efficient way to represent and deliver instruction." He also adds, "Our mental set as theorists to shift from media attributes as causal in learning to media attributes as causal in the cost effectiveness of learning." This is especially important and alarming at the same time when the issue of funding comes into play. If designers could always use their funding wisely by choosing the less expensive media to deliver their instruction and eventually attain their learning goal, why not go for it? To use your very own Cosma's experimental research, one should not forget that the use of Thinker tools, as well as the Jasper series and instructional media, when compared to other modes of delivery, basically led to the same results. This is very alarming again when we bring up the issue of cost effectiveness. Another argument I might add is the following. Think of how pilots of long ago learned how to fly planes. They certainly did not have the very expensive simulation programs that require a lot of money and spending. Now, do today's pilots have more skills than those of the past? Not necessarily. You can answer that question yourselves. To reframe this argument, I must say that as designers, it is the cognitive structure that is unseen in most cases that controls the learning task, not the medium. Is the relationship between motivation and media and the learning that comes out of them. Let me start by this opening argument. As learning is directly linked to motivation. We cannot leave this very important element pass us by. As educators, we should not forget that what brings our students every day to school is their motivation to a large extent. Now, the point I'm trying to make is the following. Are the students who go to Mrs. X's or Mrs. Y's class motivated because she uses a lot of fancy technology, or are they simply intrinsically motivated? Think about this for a second. Sometimes the most sophisticated programs and software cannot guarantee that students will automatically be motivated and therefore learn. Let's again pause and think of how students learn in the past before television, radio, computers, or any other media that you claim motivates students. I bet if we could compare both groups, groups from now and groups from the past, the results would be the same. I fully support Clark, who in turn endorses Solomon's view when it comes to motivation. Clark states, quote, Solomon and others who draw on the new cognitive theories which attribute motivation to learners' beliefs and expectations about their reactions to external events, not to external events alone. It is also very imperative to learn from our history when we are looking for answers or explanations. Most teachers these days complain about how these new generations are not like the old ones in terms of motivation. Usually veteran teachers reminisce about old times and previous students that were very motivated and most importantly intrinsically motivated. It is also very important to say that before the invention of the internet and CBA programs, still students managed across the country to become engineers, aircraft pilots, and medical doctors. In fact, some of these students, if compared to today's students with all their media and technology, would probably perform better. Do not get me wrong, I'm not trying to negate all the wonderful contributions technology has made to learning and specifically to motivation. However, we should all be careful when the claim is made that technology or media guarantees or causes motivation and eventually learning. Research has shown that students need to be intrinsically motivated in order for learning to occur. Now, I don't completely agree with this view because I still think media or the medium plays an important role in the process of instruction. For instance, students respond better to visuals than, let's say, a textbook. Yet the point I'm trying to make is this. If students are not coming with the predisposition to learn and enjoy learning, it is often hard to get anything across to them, even with the most sophisticated media.
You ready? Let's go!